Hi, hello. So I got a few questions about how exactly I made the Casiopea Wii Shop remix that I did, so I thought I'd go into detail here. This isn't like a super in-depth music theory video or whatever, but I did just want to show what was going on here. Something to note, the final version is pitched up from this because I just thought it was a split-second decision that I thought sounded better. We're going to be going over the untransposed version. This is what I made before doing any of the pitching up. So I think the most interesting thing that we'll look at first is the E-piano. I've got it all in one track here. So first we start with and those are just the two opening chords of the normal Wii Shop theme. The voicing is, I'm pretty sure the voicing is the same, but the main emotion here is in these two notes. I'm sure there's some like music theory term. Yeah, you take these out. But let's say we take out these pedal notes. The same amount of notes, but still more emotion than just having these notes that say the same throughout both chords, because that's what makes these chords different from each other. By the way, that is Syntronic. It's the GS5 model. Basically, I use Syntronic as a replacement for a Yamaha GS1, which was used a lot by Casiopea in their earlier albums before they switched to so Casiopea, they went from a normal Fender Rhodes and then a CP70 mixed in there, then a Yamaha GS1, and then from the GS1 to I'm pretty sure they just switched to standard Yamaha like an EX5 DX7s and such. So that's the brass intro. Then we'll go to the keys, which are the fun part. I'm not like I have S chord open here to identify chords and whatever, because I'm not a super huge chord person, so I'm just gonna have that at the bottom of the screen while we look at this. So anyone who's smarter than me in regards to music theory can explain what's going on, because I have no training. I have no formal training in music theory whatsoever. I'm a teenage kid who just figured out how to do notes and whatever. So that's the main part. So as you can see, it's just following the normal chord progression of the original theme. But something I'd like to do when I do key programming is add like a driving melody, even if it's just supposed to be backing chords. So in this case, for this part, it's D, E, F sharp, E. So you'll probably recognize that type of movement from what? Let's see. I can think of Super Mario Bros. 3 Overworld theme. Sonic Lost World, the Juicy Archipelago. Also, this SpongeBob Christmas song. Anyway, they use this kind of same movement, like and then you just put that with the bass, and the bass is just playing the usual bass line. So yeah, and then we do this twice. This is literally, I'm pretty sure I just pasted this part, dragged this first part up. I did change this ending part for a different rhythm. So this one emphasizes either the upbeat or the downbeat, I don't remember, but that is with velocity here to just make sure that you're paying attention to it. Then here is where we get into these are just triads on the top. Bass is just playing normal bass line. This arpeggio, standard 7th arpeggio, then going down to a whatever this is. I don't know what that chord is, but this kind of movement, I'm pretty sure I took that from another Casiopea song. I don't remember the name of it, but when I find it, I'll put that up on the screen. And then we have this going on here, also inspired by that same part. normal chord progression, but we're just doing some movement here by altering the top note to give it some sort of, this is a holding pattern. This chord stays the same, but we still want to give it some sort of like interest. For example, if you took out the top notes here, it's kind of obvious that we're just playing the same thing over and over again, which isn't necessarily bad, but just not something that Casiopea would do. We have a little trill here to add some spice to it, and then we have again, nothing really special going on here. We're just using a bunch of sevenths still, some basic arpeggios, and some trills up to notes, grace notes and stuff. Also a lot of velocity stuff because the GS1 was velocity sensitive, so you know. And you'll find that in Casiopea songs, whenever they get to parts where, you know, this is the part to pay attention to, this is the chorus, they're gonna just hammer on that GS1 and just make sure that you're absolutely paying attention to what's going on in the background. So that's the turnaround before the loop. Just standard bossa nova, especially this part here. I don't remember what song I took that concept from, but again, if I find it, I'll put it up on screen. So now we're coming back into the loop here. We have the there is a name for that. It's some sort of lick. I forgot what it was. I'm sure a trillion people will tell me in the comments. We have the like a pseudo solo here. I don't want to do a super like out there like noisy kind of solo on the EP. That's why everything is low velocity here, because that is going to go to the synth lead that plays at the same time. So I just want this to kind of have like a calmer backing while that goes on. So you know we're still doing chord stuff. There's still other people playing the song in the background, but it is the time for the synth lead to shine. So mostly the same as the first loop, but I did try to, I did spice it up. As you notice, there's a lot of humanization going on, which I use with this Python plugin that you can find, the humanize one. It's on the FL forums. Yeah, same concept, but just mixed around a little bit. Then we're coming back into the end section again. So as you'll notice here, this is literally very much inspired by Sonic Unleashed's guitar sample that it uses in Windmill Isle, the rhythm and the fact that this note comes up before going back down. Again, intentional, because I just cannot keep Sonic references out of my music no matter what. So as you'll notice, an increase in velocity here since we're coming around to the end. And then we have the outro. So yeah, that's the EP. Looks very complicated, but actually what's just going on is some very simple voice leading stuff, simple chord voicings, just mostly sevenths, you know, a bit of diminished. Nothing too special going on. I'm not a super music theory genius. Next, we're going to get into the bass. So as you'll notice, there's a lot of chopping whenever going on here, because I'll let you in on a secret. I'm a really bad bass player. So literally, I'm just cheating. I'm heavily cheating, playing little phrases and then linking them together. That's what these other arrangements are for. They're for all of my mistakes when I mess up in recording. So you're going to hear a lot of things, like a lot of issues in this bass line, a bunch of velocity stuff going on that just doesn't make any sense. It all gets fixed by this effects chain that I'll go into in a second. just standard bass stuff, nothing too complex because again, I'm not a good player. So this is all going onto Mixer Channel 1. This is where I recorded everything. Oh yeah, I had to tune my bass because it was way out of tune before doing this. I changed my bass strings for this, I'll have you know. Anyway, we're going from that into OTT for some dynamics handling. Then we go into an EQ that's taking out some of the super highs because of those new strings. Then we're just lowering the volume a little bit with an EQ. Going from there into BX Blue Chorus. I spam this on the entire song. And then we go into some Waves Bass Writer, just again handling some dynamics and some artifacts. This is an insane curve, and it only makes sense because my bass is borderline broken. You don't have to do this on your bass. Do not do this, actually. This will actively harm your tone. And then we go into Yuhi Satin or Yuha or whatever. So we got the 82730 IPS preset, which is just what I use on everything here. It's going into the A-type mod. That are just A-type actually. A-type mod is used elsewhere. It gives a little bit more tape saturation. Not necessary. This is just because I'm weird. So that's all the unique bass parts. It just gets chopped up and stuff after here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new besides this ending note. So yeah, that's my very cheating bass line. Now we're gonna go into the guitar. So we have the leads and the chords going on here. So something you'll notice in earlier Casiopea albums is they heavily like to use stereo spreading to get some width out of their guitars. So that's what's going on here with the chord guitar lines, and then the lead guitar lines are just standard center in the middle. So what's going on here is there's two reasons for me recording these in two parts. The first one is that I am a terrible guitar player, as you can see here. So that's one of the fifths in the chord that I wanted to play. And then this one is the second set of fifths in the chord that I wanted to play. So then you put them together and you get the full chord. The two reasons why I had to do that is because, first of all, I'm bad at guitar, but second of all, because I have a Floyd Rose, and that is going to suck for setting up alternate tuning, so I just decided to skip that and just do it on the second and third strings and just put it all together. So I did get a few questions about the effects chain here. Let's turn everything off. As you can see, we have just plain DI. So that's coming from a ESP LTD M100 FM. So, you know, just the neck pickups are standard, just normal stock LTD pickups. Nothing super fancy going on there. Neck pickup only. Then let's turn on the effects again. Let's see. We have OTT here, obviously. So that's to bring up the volume and address some dynamics issues. Then I have an EQ here taking out the super highs, which gives it that mellow sort of 70s tone. Then I have another EQ here bringing down the volume. Then I have a BX Blue Chorus. Now this is the main thing. The only issue I have with BX Blue Chorus is that it's mono, unless I'm doing something wrong. That means I have to take it into a Valhalla delay on the tape mode. Era set to pass, just some minor delay here. And then finally, we have Valhalla Vintage Verb. We have some mod going on here to add a little bit more chorus, taking out the lows in the guitar so we don't muddy up the signal. And that's the final tone. All right, now we'll get into the rest of the guitar. Now this is self-explanatory. It's literally the Wii Shop Channel. You know how the Wii Shop Channel goes. So I'm just gonna let this play and get in some minor comments if they're needed. the normal lead going on here. And then we have chords going on here. So again, recording each note at a time. I did this for a reason though. I had a very specific way I wanted to offset all of these notes. So we have just going down, and then we have and then finally and then you put all those together. All right, now we can go back to the rest of the song. So here I have the auxiliary chords going on in the background. So that's the guitar part. If you're wondering what this muted part here is, it's just the bass lead. Originally, it was just going to be like the original, having the second line end like this. But I thought that was boring, so I decided to offset it. Now you might wonder what's going on here, and this is because I, again, really bad at guitar. So for these little arpeggio picking parts that you might not even have noticed, this is just Promeny Metal GTX. So, you know, standard stuff going on there. This is going through mostly the same path as this, as the original guitar. Only change here is that we have a BC re-guitar. I'm trying to make it sound more like the guitar that I've recorded everything else with. Re-stereo enhancer for that stereo widening that I talked about with Casiopea chords. Nothing in the guitar happens after that point, so I'm going to the next piece here, this tonal lead. So this is just a simple Kepler patch that I made in like 3 seconds. Just a saw wave, square wave going into a high pass filter and then a low pass filter with some resonance. Something you might notice here is that the actual original line is only played at the end in its original voicing. Otherwise, all the notes are just shifted around. You know, some of the notes that would be lower in the chord here, I put them higher than the others because I just wanted a little bit of difference from the original. So we do that 3 times, and then we finally, at the end, we play the original. So as you can see here, and so it might sound empty on its own, but you combine it with the EP kind of fills in all the gaps that are left here by the just very separate voicing. So, you know, very simple stacking and things going on, nothing super special. Then we'll go into there's a FM tubular bell here. This is also Syntronic, famous FM tubular bells 1. Yes, that not only is the sonic ring sound, but also the Taco Bell sound, in case you were wondering. So then we'll get here into there are 2 parts of this section. So we have the actual solo, and then we have some auxiliary synth going on, doing some mood setting. Let's get into the solo first. So this is Arminator 2. Don't shoot me, but I think Arminator 2 sucks, and I only use this because Casiopea had a Yamaha CS series of some sort. By the way, shout out to the Jazz Fusion Discord server for giving me a lot of this info in regards to what synths were used and how they were used by Casiopea. I'm doing a bit of modification with how you'd usually do a Casiopea song because they did do a lot of their stuff live, and there's a lot of overdubbing in my song. But I'm not a good player at like any instrument, which is why I had to do that. So we have Arminator 2 doing that here. It's kind of using a similar instrument to the original Wii Shop Channel, kind of organ-like thing, even though it says acoustic piano. So the solo itself, again, I'm not a music theory guy, but this is just a really simple solo I made. I think it's actually one of the least interesting ones I've ever done because it's just going down. But I do like chromaticism in my solos, so if you ever get bored enough and you hate yourself, you can go find every instance where I use a chromatic descending phrase in a solo. But yeah, as you can just see, just going down, down, down. Even up here, it goes up and then it goes back down. And then we get to the auxiliary lead here, just again, Arminator 2, just playing some really basic lines here. So again, really simple stuff. All of these presets, by the way, these just come with Arminator 2. None of this is custom, or none of these two are custom. I did do some custom stuff for Kepler, but besides that, the tonal stuff, all varied. Like you can just get this from all presets and things. I'm not a sound designer. I'm not a very good one, at least. Then the last part that we'll do, we'll get into the drums here. Superior Drummer 3, Hitmaker SDX, my own custom kit. If anyone wants this, I'll put it in the description. Any presets or whatever, if you want it, just ask. I'll put it in the research folder. I'm a very open source music kind of person. I don't like gatekeeping. So on its own, doesn't sound very special. But what I do here is I just put everything pretty much on mid to low velocity because I think Superior Drummer sucks on high velocity. So we just have some really basic jazz fusion stuff going on. So that's the drum section. Again, nothing too special. This fill is from Promethei, which is some random song that's Tomoyo Otani sampled, and I like the fill from, so I just used it. In terms of the actual mixing of the kit itself, it's just I turned down a lot of the stuff I didn't need. Boosted this snare gate up a little bit. It's not doing anything special, just adding a bit of reverb. When we get into the transitions, there is the cymbal that I sampled from this kit, and I just used this as a very simple kind of a clap sort of sound just to mark the beginning of a new phrase in the song. As for the actual mixer track on the drums themselves, just simple boosting the volume with EQ, compression to stop it from clipping, satin again on the multi-tracking drums preset, again A-type mod, and a little tiny bit of ambient room reverb here, taking out a lot of the bottom end, taking out a lot of the top end. Just want to get some room sound in there, but not with an actual room reverb plug. And then finally we have this little intro section here. That's from 0G Ambient. I just needed to find something a bit weird and kind of creepy. So now we'll get into the mastering. So we have satin here on the master, of course. I'm not a mastering engineer. I'm actually really bad at it. I get carried by Ozone. So we just have the A827 15 IPS. Then we're doing some cutting of the mids and some weird frequency sections. Then we go into Ozone 11. What that's doing is you're just doing some EQing, some whatever this is, an imager, clarity, which is adding some high-end detail, a stabilizer to get rid of the hard transients and things, some dynamic EQing that only occurs when the stuff gets up too high. As you notice, the EQ curve for these two are very similar. They're both taking out similar frequency spectrums. Then we get into the maximizer. Something I learned is that Casiopea actually does have their masters up pretty loud, even a bit of upward compression that I used personally and some soft clipping on. But the secret to making it not sounding overwhelming is to turn on this character slider, bring it to smooth. Don't bump up the gain so high that you start hearing the limiting going on, playing energetically, but you don't want it to feel like they're smashing all their stuff. Because there's two levels to volume. You have the actual volume itself, and then you have velocity. So you can get a lot of volume without a lot of velocity. You can get a lot of velocity without a lot of volume. And so what I want to do here is Casiopea during this era that I'm trying to replicate, kind of like the mint jams sort of thing. Despite it being loud, it doesn't sound overbearing. I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything. It's just a really basic arrangement, actually. I think I let's see how long I took. 5 hours. Really simple stuff here going on, nothing too complex. I just kind of do these sorts of remixes in my free time because they're not too hard. They're just, you know, kind of simple reimaginings of stuff. If you guys like this sort of content, both the overview and the actual remix itself, I'll make sure to do it more often. Thank you for watching. Next video will be in an indiscriminate amount of time.